All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. I'm going to go over the headlines, even though hardly anyone in the world cares about this very important information, and then we'll talk about the actual topic. Where do we go from here, since we've been doing this for about 12 years, and seemingly the world has proven that it does not care about the truth and importance of this information. Again, people get all emotionally attached to the news and their political parties and their sports games, and they could break away from that emotional attachment and actually see what's going on if they would invest some time into what's being taught here. But again, no one cares, and I don't know why. One of the headlines debate the masses today. Trump administration takes hundreds of migrant kids into custody. And why is this a focus of CNN on June 4th? Or the 4th of June, a date expressed 6446. Again, the article talks about the contrast between how the Biden administration was handling this versus how the Trump administration is handling this. You can see why this is the news today. Children on 4-6. Again, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, the way the news is contrived every day. Children equals 46. The contrast with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, 64. What else is in the news on this same day? Oh, the White House press secretary under Joe Biden has left the Democratic Party on this same day in the news. This is also June 4th. And as we covered over the years, everything about Karine Jean-Pierre from her first time in front of the podium to every other dramatic headline she had where news people became the news, it was always by the numbers. So again, just Joe Biden's gal leaving the Democratic Party on 6-4 or 4-6 when he was number 46. And again, you're looking at one of the only faces in the very vast internet who was saying over and over why Joe Biden would be chosen in the 2020 election, why he would be selected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, what that number had to do with Catholicism and him becoming the second Catholic president, in light of the only other one being killed at age 46, and what it had to do with the death of his son, Beau Biden, at age 46. But somehow, some way, 2020, Kobe's death, one of a million correct predictions landing in a major way that year. Since about 2020, haven't really gotten any views on this channel. And even if you go back and look at GematriaEffectNews 22, which still exists, you look at the views on there, like some videos got 70-some thousand views, a lot of videos in the 20,000 view range. Not very good, but that channel was created a few years ago and quickly was on the brink of being deleted with 2 strikes. But again, not very good views. Like the top video being 70,000 views, that would have been a run-of-the-mill video in 2017. It's just gotten worse and worse, though, because you look at this channel, there's only a few videos that have ever eclipsed 10,000 views, and the average video gets between 1 and 2K views, which to me doesn't make any sense because, again, this knowledge was commanding 100K views on average in 2017, and it's only gotten a lot better than the work, and not to mention the resume, in terms of correct predictions, future casting, being a million% on point about what was coming in 2020, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, anyway, coming back to this thing with Karine Jean-Pierre, they've done a lot of race crap with her too. Notice it's 42 weeks after her birthday. She becomes the headlines. It's just par for the course. As we talked about, she was the 35th White House press secretary for number 46, reminding of JFK, number 35, killed at age 46 when Catholic equals 35 and 46 in Gematria. If you want to go back to her first White House press briefing, that was on the 277th day of her age, which is the 59th prime. Like Biden won the 59th election, like John F. Kennedy equals 59. 59 and 42, the number stamped all over Black history. Of course, she did that at age 47, the big presidential number. Like how, again, Biden was in federal office for 47 years before becoming president, when president, White House, government, and authority all equal 47. But yeah, if you haven't read my first book, Letters and Numbers, again, it talks about just the race rituals with 59 and 42. So there's been a lot of this with Karine Jean-Pierre. But yeah, just, again, it blows me away that people don't catch on. A lot of people are going to see this headline today and they'll be like, oh man, even Karine Jean-Pierre's leaving the Democrats. But like nowhere in their brain will be like, well, wait a minute. Today's a lot like 4-6. Like Joe Biden was number 46. And then some people, if you point it out to them, they'd be like, so what are you saying? There's some kind of numerology thing? It's like, you haven't noticed every day in the news for all of your life? Because it's been going on every day for all of your life. Again, you guys, like I was just talking about that movie yesterday. It's supposed to be a work of fiction by R.L. Stine, but it doesn't look like a work of fiction. It looks like a commonly told story that's happening all over the world for a long period of time, put into a work of fiction, kind of to mock the audience, to entertain the audience, and make them think these kind of things only happen in the movies. But remember, that R.L. Stine, born into a Ooish family, the whole thing is about Ooish spell casting and wizardry, and a Ooish family controlling a town politically through Cabala. And what do the Ooish people refer to the non-Ooish people as? They refer to them as a class of animals, just like Jesus referred to the non-Ooish woman in the Bible as a dog. For all you good Christians out there, again, you do worship a religion where you're thought of as an animal, and your book is glued onto the back of the Old Testament that, again, that's the religion that says if you're not one of them, you're an animal. You're a goyim. You're a lesser. You're meant to be a slave. And then you start to think about it. Well, it's like, this starts to make sense because Christianity is a religion that condones slavery. It's all starting to make a lot of sense if you actually just think about it. But that's the thing. Most people can't think. So, and of course, we are a nation of slaves. The way slavery has shifted. You're not out in chains, picking God knows what out of the field all day. Now, you're born into a system. You're told what to do your whole life, to go to slave school. Once you get out of slave school, to either become in debt with massive student loans for most people, or to join the workforce and start paying taxes where you pay a huge percentage of your labor to governments that do things like God knows what with it. I guess have $45 million parades with a budget to nearly destroy $20 million worth of roads just because. Okay. We covered the supposed bombing of the fertility clinic, a more obvious bait, right? Abortion, the thing that drives most people to one side of the political aisle. Almost nobody can stand either political party because they know they're totally full of shit, but they mostly toe the line on the abortion thing. One stays mostly pro-choice and the other stays pro-life. The phrasing they've chosen for these stances. But yeah, a bombing of a fertility clinic, more bait. And as we covered, the building that was bombed was the American Reproductive Centers. If you look it up, that's what it was called. And right away, they said the FBI was on the scene. They were pretty much there as soon as the bomb went off. And we said, oh, this isn't hard to see. Look at what the Gematria reveals about the place that was bombed and who was on the scene. Oh, perfect. Nearly the exact same Gematria in all four ciphers. Again, if you're new here, this is the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. For the little gender bender who lives in his car outside the gas station in California, who found an obscure translation of the Sefer Yetzirah and likes to post it online saying, I'm a liar. Again, you're a moron. Right here, Book of Formation, opening paragraph. Let me just read the first paragraph of the Book of Formation again, and I'll show you what the little gender bender's doing up in California, trying to persuade people to his idiocy. In 32 mysterious paths of wisdom did the Lord write, the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the living Elohim, and King of the universe, the almighty, merciful, and gracious God. He is great and exalted and eternally dwelling in the height. His name is holy. He is exalted and holy. He created his universe by three forms of expression: numbers, letters, and words. And of course, Cabala, which this book is for, is attached to the Old Testament, and specifically the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, known as the 5 books of Moses. How does the Old Testament begin? In the beginning, here, let's just pull it up real quick. Let's pull up Genesis 1 real quick. We'll do the Shakespeare version. Everyone thinks it's the real version, the Shakespeare version. I speak like Shakespeare for it to be real. In the beginning, hold on. Well, again, I don't even want to read this again, but just look how God is speaking the world into existence over numbered days, right? Letters, numbers, and words. There's the verse in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word. So anyway, the gender bender guy, he's going, oh, well, I found a translation of this where it says, he created his universe by 3 forms of expression: numbers, letters, and sounds. And then he's making this video saying that I'm lying. Okay, you found an obscure translation, not to mention the word is so important in the Bible. Again, just moronic stuff. And sadly, that's the only kind of videos that are ever being made about my content. You don't find really any people making mini videos to help out. You do find occasionally a moron or two will upload some just total bullshit video. But yeah, it's moronic to think that the common translation is not numbers, letters, and words, since that is the whole thing that Kabbalists are into with the Gematria thing. And consider, even if you did find a translation that says sounds, are words not sounds? Pathetic. But yeah, again, these 4 simple ciphers, which I learned about in a book published in 1926, just look at it, and just day after day. Is it any mystery why the FBI was on the scene? And here's the thing, too. Today, here's the update in the story. The update in the story is it's now a span of 19 days later. Today has 19 date numerology, and the FBI has found the suspect. And where did they find him? The FBI found him in New York. Does 19 and an explosion remind you of anything having to do with New York? Maybe the 19 hijackers. You know, it all went back to 68. The lead hijacker born in 68. The year 911 was made the emergency dialing code. The year World Trade Center construction began. The year the Quran code was discovered that says the book is centered on 19. The year Timothy McVeigh was born, who supposedly bombed a building on the 19th of April. The year that COVID was coined, and we all call it COVID-19. Your fentanyl was approved. But here's the other thing about this, too. Again, just the motto is order out of chaos, right? Order out of chaos. Today can be written 4-6. Chaos has the 46 and 19 connection. And the reason I put Catholic up here is because did you see where they arrested him? They arrested the bomber of the fertility clinic at JFK International Airport. What age was JFK killed at? 46. The guy with all the parallels to Joe Biden, whose press secretary is out of the news today. And we'll see. It's going to be blatant. If Biden, if we get the headline in 2 days that Biden kicked the bucket on the anniversary of RFK's death, it'll just be such an in-your-face mockery. Again, RFK and Biden have the same birthday. RFK died on the Celtics' birthday. Celtic equals 46. Of course, Joe Biden's Secret Service name is Celtic. And if Biden does kick the bucket, it's going to be 46 days after the Pope, who, again, was synced up with Biden winning the 59th election. Pope Francis equals 59. Biden elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. But, yeah, just more obvious total mockery. Another government psyop. More bait by the numbers. Imagine the millions of people who will watch this movie on Netflix showing this powerful family using Kabbalah. Well, they're not even going to pick up on they use Kabbalah because they only put it in front of your face for about 1 to 2 seconds. Again, it's just that's the thing. That's how Hollywood gets away with what they do, because they're putting stuff in front of people's face and they don't recognize it. They don't recognize the big G in the Freemason tribute. They don't recognize the name Solomon in Freemason Secrets. They don't know that Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah because they haven't read Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, which is how most of us know that who aren't Freemasons. You know, you have people make videos, Zach can only know this because he's a Mason. There's a lot of videos that have been made like that out there. So, nope, never been a Mason, never been in a Masonic lodge, just read things that are accessible to anyone. But yeah, I mean, how could the mockery be any bigger? The arrest in JFK on the 4-6 date, and people don't get it. Again, all the people out there cheering for the chump. Yeah, Doge, they're cutting government spending. And then next thing you know, it's the first $1 trillion military budget. Remember, that was all synced up with the Superior General, just like Hegseth was chosen on the Superior General's birthday, November 12th. Now we got the Fox News administration. You know what's interesting about what they did with their cuts is they forced a lot of things that the federal government was spending money on to now become part of state budgets. So, like out here in Washington State, a lot of cuts to medical services, and the state has said they're going to cover over 90% of those cuts, which are massive. That means in Washington State, we're going to be paying more taxes through sales tax and property tax, no doubt about it, and whatever other little taxes and fees they throw at us, tabs on cars, license renewal, more tolls on freeways. And the federal tax burden's not coming down because they're spending even more money federally. So we're going to be taxed more at the state and federal level. And it's not, I'm talking for my state out here in Washington State, but it's the same thing going on all across the nation. Everyone who is cheering on these cuts, trust me, I don't disagree with cuts. I feel like government spending should be way less than what it is. But I know that all of these people are full of shit too, and I knew this is exactly where it would amount to. Again, Klaus Schwab came out and told us in 2020, you'll own nothing and be happy by 2030. And look at how much all costs across the board have escalated since then. And if you go back and can find a way to find my coverage of that from June of 2020 when that quote broke, I made the point right then. I said, I suspect one of the ways they're going to do it is through weather warfare, because these destructive acts that are not Mother Nature are, they create a lot of spending and borrowing from the state, and they raise insurance costs. I told you, that's the other thing that drives me nuts too right now, is just listening to all these people put out their content blaming the inflation on Biden. It's just like, can these people just shut up and stop being so partisan? The day that they announced the stimulus checks during the cooties lockdown, the banker scam out of Switzerland with the WHO. The day they announced that, I did a video going into detail. And I still remember my exact quote because I used my dad as the example. I said, all of this is going to cause a lot of inflation. I said, somebody like my dad who's worked his whole life and hardly saved anything in the scope of things. My dad saved $400,000 over the course of working 70 years. I said, his $400,000 is not going to be worth $400,000 once they start printing all this money. He'll be lucky if it's worth $300,000. And again, like I said, here in Washington State, a home that was $300,000 is now $500,000 in a very quick period of time. It didn't take long at all. Right now, it's probably $550,000, nearly doubled. So my dad's savings of $400,000 from a lifetime of working, worth closer to $200,000. And again, it's annoying listening to all these partisan morons just wanted to blame it all on the other side. It's like, no, both sides are complicit. They're both two wings of the same bird. To ignore economics 101, which Trump's doing again. And just these same morons will be like, oh, I see what he's trying to do with the tariffs. Or what do you see what he's trying to do? Are you smarter than the father of economics? Are you smarter than Adam Smith, who said tariffs should pretty much never be used? Very rarely for extreme exceptions. And again, we all know how tariffs equals 47, and Trump implemented his first tariffs exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing of Wealth of Nations. But again, these are the kind of things nobody gives a shit about. So, but yeah, here, adding $2.4 trillion onto an already crazy deficit. Again, you guys, the more the deficit grows, the more interest is owed to the bankers that actually run the nation. And the more money you're going to have to be paying in taxes to keep up with that debt burden and what's owed. And that's why as time goes on, we see just everything rise in cost. Yeah, I just don't know how anybody supports either political party. When I saw this headline about the Trump administration cutting $258 million in the program for discovering HIV jabs, I said, this got to be connected with Bill Gates, because, of course, William Henry Gates equals 258. Remember how his dad died on the 258th day of the year, September 14th, 2020. That's the 258th day in a leap year, like when he died. But yeah, of course, he's the face of jabs, right? And you know how the Republican Party equals 214, like Church of Satan, and Trump's had a lot of 214 rituals. He runs on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan does Trump. Satan equals 55, like Gates is born in 55. But yeah, this cut was 214 days after Bill Gates' birthday. I just found that interesting. I thought, I don't think that's a coincidence. The face of the jabs for the current era. Again, he's the new Jonas Salk, and he has the same birthday as Jonas Salk. Remember, Elvis got the polio jab on live TV on Bill Gates' first birthday, which was Jonas Salk's 42nd. Now Gates operates out of the 42nd state, and of course, VACCINE equals 42. And don't forget that the vaccination word with Sumerian gematria equals 666, like number of the beast equals 258. I'm sure that's part of it too. But yeah, this cut happened on May 30th. May 30th. And just notice the overlap with May and HIV. There's probably more to it, but yeah, Bill Gates was immediately what came to mind. I said, let me measure from Gates' birthday and see if this makes some sense. I said, yeah, this does make some sense. This does make some sense. Now, here's what I actually want to talk about. You guys might know the channel The Illusion. He's somebody who does gematria. Of course, he learned from yours truly. His video popped up in my feed yesterday, and understand, I'm not a big fan of this person because he's another person who learned from me, and then the way he found to build his channel was by attacking me and slandering me, and he made videos saying sweet lady's a transgender, and which is definitely not true. But anyway, now he's converted into a Jesus guy, and now after 6 months or so of studying the Bible, whatever it's been, he claims to be a total expert on the Bible. But anyway, his video showed up yesterday in my feed, so I just decided to watch it. And he's expressing the same sentiment that pretty much everyone who does this work is. Just super frustrated with how bad views are. Again, if you're covering this topic of letters and numbers, you have been destroyed by the algorithm. Everybody who's doing this work gets a lot less views than they used to. And he was going off on how this YouTuber, you know what's funny? A few months back, somebody was talking about iShowSpeed. I'd never heard of this channel. I checked out. I remember he had like almost 30 million subs at the time, and this wasn't more than a few months ago. Within a few months, he's up to almost 40 million subs. So I'd say in the last 3 months, he's probably grown by 10 million subs. But anyway, he was complaining about how, this guy doesn't really have any talent. All he really does is play video games and bark at the screen. And for whatever reason, he's super famous. Again, it's so obvious to me. He's probably the son of somebody, first of all, just like Kai Cenat, who's his buddy, is obviously the son of Diddy. By the way, did you guys see that Diddy is the second most, he's making the second most money right now in the music world off streaming and sales? Yeah, Diddy right now, the only person in front of him is Taylor Swift. So yeah, this whole thing with Diddy is making him a lot of money, actually, by the way. Again, that's why they say all press is good press. But anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if he's another entertainer's son. But look at this. Look at this. This kid created his YouTube channel when he was 11 years old. 11. And his birthday is January 21st. His channel was created typically 59 days after his birthday. We know where that goes with Black History. Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown in 59. Slave, Negro, Rasta, Blues 59. Obama's Secret Service name, Renegade 59. The thing I just talked about with Karine Jean-Pierre making her first press conference on the 277th day of the year, the 59th prime. However, that was a leap year that he made his channel, so it was 60 days after his birthday. Remember, Nigger equals 60, and it equals 42. 60 is the 42nd composite number. Him being 11, the word black is 11. Looks like he's being associated with the sport of football, the game of 11 on 11. You can tell that this isn't an organic creation. This is one of these chosen people. And again, YouTube is now this major thing. Most of his audience are young children. How many young children do you think are aspiring in the world to be the next iShowSpeed, where they can just play video games and bark at the screen and essentially exhibit zero real talent and be a multimillionaire? He's getting day sports contracts. They did this with Mr. Beast too. Remember Mr. Beast, who recently got engaged to the woman who wrote the book The Marked Children, Mark of the Beast, The Marked Children, Mr. Beast. Not to mention Mr. Beast has that gematria connection to 666, the way he spells it. But yeah, anyway, he was mad about this. He's like, listen, I'm out here trying to do good work. I'm teaching people life-changing knowledge. And I agree, he is. He's teaching the work that he learned from me. This is life-changing knowledge. He's like, I'm trying to bring people to a better spiritual understanding. Now, I might totally disagree with where he's gone with religion, but I get his sentiment and where he's coming from. And it's not just him. I'm just making the point. His video showed up. I decided to watch it. I haven't heard from this guy in a long time. And yeah, again, all of us have essentially been blacklisted. It would be interesting if we all tried to work together and collaborate, if somehow, some way that could help overcome what's going on with the algorithm. And even though, a guy like that, I don't really owe anything to. Again, he makes his living off the knowledge he learned from me. So essentially he's eating from what he learned from me, but all he's ever done is slander my name. I would still give him the benefit of the doubt and work with him in the future for the simple fact that he is trying to spread important information, which is what, yours truly has brought to the table. But yeah, his video is called "I Show Speed's Deal with the Devil." I doubt he got to. I watched. You can see where the red line is. I stopped watching the video because he started talking about how he looks like Jason Statham, and I don't know if it was the camera angle, but he looked more like Meatloaf in Fight Club. Anyway, that's beside the point. But I was just waiting for his deal with the devil. I thought he had some decode on something he did. It is important to have honest titles, because you didn't have anything in your video about the deal with the devil. You're making assumptions, and you're saying all these people who are super famous on YouTube are famous because they're about the wrong stuff. I don't disagree with that, but if you're going to say his deal with the devil, like, I'm watching the video to see, let me see what happened. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but come with some proof. Anyway, the point is, here, let me make a point with Derek's channel. Derek's channel has existed. He's lost a channel too, Derek, and Derek's always been as kosher as can be. But I just want you to see Derek's views. His most popular video on here, 6 years ago, 294K views. The XXX Tentacion thing. All of us in the Gematria community who covered that death at the time all got big views. 6 years ago, also, Anthony Bourdain. I remember that was in the period of time where I was driving for... He died on June 8th, Anthony Bourdain. Supposedly offed himself. Chef equals 6'8". June 8th. I remember it like it was yesterday because I was driving in the car. I miss driving. I did Uber and Lyft for 3 months, and I had a good time, man. I talked to people about the news as it broke. I'd have it on the radio. People like, wow. I'd be like, you want to hear something interesting? I was like breaking down Anthony Bourdain to a group of people in the back of the car while I was taking them to some wine tasting event. They're like, that's crazy. I got to look more into that. Anyway, well, I guess Derek on this channel, he didn't have a lot of success with his views. But you can see 6 years ago, he had some videos that reached the triple digits. Part of the reason Derek's views aren't good is because he's always he just goes into just areas and obscure decoding that you just don't need to do. But look at his latest views. Like, here's how it's been for him lately. 562 views. 2 years ago, he got 4.6K. I guess he doesn't do many videos. He hasn't done an actual video for 11 months. But you can see these views are a lot more down here the last couple years. And consider my latest channel, which I've been mostly on for the last 2 years. I can't get any views either. But his live streams, 6 days ago, last stream, 583 views, 489 before that, 578. When was the last time he broke 1,000? The death of the Pope, or actually, this is the new American Pope. The new American Pope got him 1,000 views. I mean, you see, he can't even hardly get to 1,000 views. So, and if you guys don't know Derek's who built the Gematrinator calculator. Which will always be a great contribution. I feel like the way Derek started decoding was a detriment, but the point is, I mean, just everybody's been shadow banned, and the only person who really gets any views that covers Gematria is Call Me Kinfolk, who's tied into the NBA 2K community, and he's the only guy who's ever been allowed to reach 100,000 subs who does Gematria. Of course, I've been deleted on the cusp of 100,000 subs several times. Gematria Effect Sports was going to hit 100K back in March 2 years ago, and then it lost 6,000 subs overnight and has literally stayed at 89,000 subs since March of 2023. It just can't come off 89K. It just stays there. But, I mean, even his views, they are the best in the community right now, and sadly, these aren't the best decodes. But, again, he's really the only one who's able to get any views. I think he's also the only former military in the Gematria community, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely not the best decoder. People get mad when I say probably the worst, but I would say he's probably the worst because he really doesn't know much about anything and tries to tie every single thing to Kobe Bryant. But yeah, this is about the only person who's getting even halfway decent views. Not that these are good views, though, either. I mean, in 2017, I couldn't put out a video that got this low of views. So, yeah, what do we do here? What do we do? What do we do? Here's the kind of stuff that shows up in your feed. Like, I don't even click on Jim Bob's channel. They are always putting Jim Bob in my feed. Jesus. Did you guys remember when I debated this moron? Guy said Gematria wasn't relevant, and since then, what have we nailed? March Madness, Kentucky Derby, Masters, etc., etc. And that's my other frustration right now, I've been grinding despite having the little one. Just killing the world of futures like always. And my support just continues to trickle down each month. Views get worse. Support gets worse. It's like, what do you have to do? Like, what do you have to do to get the work to grow at this point? Is it possible? I mean, if I heard somebody had called the Masters, the Derby, and March Madness the college championship this year and was just a hair off on their preseason Super Bowl future, but had his people on the right side of the bet with hedging with the Eagles, not to mention smash the player props, I'd be like, hold on, how did they do that? I got to learn about that. And that is what was going on in the past. That's why we used to get big views, but nothing's changed other than the views. Like I said, have I said multiple times in the last week, I now have to do 50 to 100 videos to get the same amount of views I would have got from one video in 2017. That's not sustainable. And yeah, just to me at this point, it feels like this isn't worth the time. The low views, the fact that the people who are here can't leave a comment. I keep telling you guys, can you just do something like leave just a one-word comment? Almost nobody does it. Don't leave a paragraph comment with good information. That's just going to get deleted and by YouTube. But if you write one word, hi, a period, a comma, an exclamation point, the number 222 three times, anything. You could just write anything down. It would help. You guys, one of the best, look at this. Again, I'm going to go back to this point about my channel. One of the best videos I've had recently is a video with no sound for God knows what reason because YouTube muted it. But this video got more views than almost all the other videos I've put out lately. And do you know why? It's because you guys left a comment, and the comment was, I can't hear anything. Do you see how leaving that comment, because so many of you guys left a comment that you couldn't hear, it helped out the views? I've been telling you guys this stuff for years, and like nobody does it. So that's the way I just started to feel. It's like, okay, I'm grinding, and my audience, they can't even like take 1 second to like just punch a button and hit enter. So, yeah, I mean, these are really simple things people could do to help out. And then the common comment that I open up the comments, it's almost always there. Zach, first time I've seen a video, I haven't gotten any notifications. It's like, that just kills me every time I read it. I'm just like, this is how everybody is. They don't even try to go beyond what shows up when they log on to YouTube, the homepage, even subscriptions feed. YouTube keeps channels like mine that are shadow banned out of people's feeds. And people don't click on anything until it shows up. They're not willing to go to the search bar and type in, Zachary K. Hubbard. I mean, it really can be done in seconds. It really can be done in seconds. But it's asking too much. So, yeah, and again, because the channel is so irrelevant at this point, and it is, nobody wants to have a conversation about this. Nobody wants to debate. Nobody wants to entertain the work. People are watching things like Nick Fuentes and that little 10-year-old that's all in everybody's feed now, Dean W. Did you see they just had a debate the other day? That showed up in my feed, the Fuentes-Dean debate. And Fuentes is arguing that the nation should be controlled by Catholics. And Dean, the supposedly know-it-all 10-year-old, just showed that he didn't know anything. He didn't know that he didn't make any good arguments. It's like, it's such an easy argument to win. It's like, do we not understand where this nation came from? This nation came from being ruled by Catholics, and what was wrong with that. That's why people crossed the Atlantic to escape the government that was the Catholic Church. that was making everybody pay fees and indulgences. That Martin Luther called out, how this Catholic Church was also instigating people into negative behavior on the weekends, so then they could be pulled into the church and fined with indulgences. It's just annoying, man. It's just like, bring that little twerp Nick Fuentes on here to debate and watch how bad he gets rolled over. But that's also why we're shadow banned, right? They don't want actual people who are intelligent, who know what's going on in the world, to even be heard from. So here we are, the Gematria community, totally shadow banned. And what's clogging up everyone's feed? Now little pimple-faced losers who don't know anything about anything. Who are also getting, mad donations. You turn on any of these guys' streams for a second, they're instantly rich. You're like, God damn, these people can be online for 15 minutes talking nothing but bullshit, and the world's throwing thousands of dollars at them. Crazy. All right, I'm going to open up the phone line. You guys can tell me, what's the next move? Where do we go to? And please don't call in and tell me to go to BitChute, because I've been there for years. I'm shadow banned on BitChute. I used to be able to get good views on BitChute, but not for about the last 5 years. I've been shadow banned on BitChute. Please don't tell me Rumble, because I've never been able to get more than 10 views on a video on Rumble. It's for Republicans only. I did TikTok, and it started off good, and then I got shadow banned on there. So, I mean, I could try TikTok again. I'd be more inclined to try there, but it just seems like it's a platform for little kids who want to watch 10-second videos, and I don't really want to do 10-second content. All right, let me see. All right, we got our first call from 559, and 559, what's up?
What's up, man?
559, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Try something else out. I might have got it too late. 559, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I can hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, man, what you can do about it, man, really is nothing, because it's their platform and you have to operate within their platform. So you're very intelligent, but you're going up against groups of very intelligent people. You know what I mean? So there's really nothing you can do about that. What you're saying is, everything you're saying is real. And it's fascinating that I have to argue with people. Ever since I got up on you, I have to argue with these fools, and they keep telling me it's coincidence. I'm like, what the hell? I'll get it directly from your channel. I'll write down the shit that you say, and I'll tell one of these fools while I'm at the gym, and then I'll say, hey, man, check this channel out. I'll send them the video. They either won't watch it. They'll say it's just purely coincidence, and then they won't even bother watching the video, and they probably don't even read the shit that I send them in the text messages or the numbers that I tell them. So people are just, they need something to motivate them. And you know what's crazy is that if people they cooperate and they bow down in 2021, man, they actually created some experimental fucking vaccine, man, and you don't know what's in it. And they actually got people to fucking take it and get mad at other people for not taking it.
Doesn't it perfect with the whole Society of Jesus running the whole show, and how Jesus came to divide families? Because I've never seen families more divided than over the pokey dope.
It was crazy. And then when we look back at it, I can't believe 4 years has passed that fast. But 4 years has passed, or 3.5 now. And then we look back on that, and you see people in New York who got big payouts for just quitting, man. They say, hey, hell no, working nurse jobs, doctors, a number of people quit. And then you look back at it now, and they're getting paid, but they're getting paid quietly, and people are not talking about that. They don't run that shit on the news at all, you know? And so all people have to do is just stick together, man. And you could bring them to their knees, but you won't do it. Another thing about this, it's personal to me, man, because I'm black. You know what I mean? I'm what you call a native or a foundational Black American, this term. You know, nobody in my family is an immigrant, and I see them I don't know if you see this, Zach, but I see them actively replacing us in every aspect of society with immigrant blacks. Look on the back of these football jerseys and it's crazy, all in movies and stuff, and they're actively doing that. They're trying to get us out of the way because they actually owe us. This is the same people that are doing this. That's manipulating all this shit with the numbers.
Well, let's just pause too. I feel like that's even, you don't even have to go to that example. Just look at the history, right? You have Henry Kissinger, who was in D.C. forever, who actively talked about depopulation, mostly in black countries and all darker complected countries, but largely African nations. You have the 82 drug war declared by Reagan, where they made all the new laws with the new crack cocaine to put black people in prison. With the pokey doke, you had people like Idris Elba being used to tell black people that they're the most susceptible to dying from the virus and they need the pokey doke more than anybody. It was like a new Tuskegee experiment after Event 201 when there were 201 people in the control group for the Tuskegee experiment. Yeah, there's no secret that black Americans are definitely the most targeted. But then even then, you see that a lot of black people, I recently went on a black panel and was educating them about this stuff, and some people did like it, but I saw that as soon as I got off, a black woman came on and she was all mad. She's like, I don't know why all you guys in the chat are impressed just because some white boy came in here and told us something, and they all just like, listen to this shit. I was trying to be not racist and talking about why this black fatigue's bullshit, and some black lady's going to get on here and make it all racist and say, I don't know why you listen to some white boy. Well, that white boy just told you some of the most important information you could ever fucking know, dumb bitch. And then last time I'm on there, the same bitch pays $25 to have me muted when I'm in the middle of making a really important point. This is what's wrong with our society, and here, just for people who think that I get down on my knees for the black community. The reason I stick up for black people is because they are the most targeted by these agendas. But at the same time, I got smoke for every community, and I know that a big problem in the black community is, again, the family unit's been more destroyed there than anywhere. And a big problem in that community is the women are the leaders. And sorry, ladies, I love women, and women have a place and are absolutely important in every family. But women are not meant to be the leaders of any household because they're emotional. They got a time of a month. Their minds aren't as logical. But it doesn't mean they're not equally as important. But you see, it's just like when I went to Buffalo. You had all these, I had these two little gay black guys come up to me with their little gay accents. They're like, you're in the wrong neighborhood. It's a food desert out here. People like you, your color shouldn't even be out here. It's like, listen to these dumb motherfuckers. Again, and you can tell they were raised by women. This society's fucked from so many angles is the point I'm trying to make right now. But go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with all that shit you said, man. And the thing with the women is, I know exactly what you're talking about. I grew up with that shit, man. Logic is thrown out the window, okay, in the household. And if you get logic thrown out the window in the household for years compounded on top of years, the child is going to grow up with a fucked up mind. You know what I mean? And so they do actively do that to target black people. But black people don't see that. I'm arguing with black people about this shit I'm telling you right now, about how we're being replaced by Africans, and they're being strategic about why they're doing that. That's something to pay attention to. Another thing is, I wanted to ask you about something that you did some numbers on the other day, man. It was around the Saquon Barkley shit, dude. I can't fucking remember exactly what I wanted to ask you. Okay, I think it was something along the lines about in the entertainment industry, when it comes to sports directly, how they're actively, do you think some guys are missing shots on purpose in the NBA?
Of course they are.
Is it a combination?
Of course they are. They're missing them on purpose in college. God.
Right. I'm trying to, because I play ball. I played a little, JUCO ball, and I look at some shit, man, in some of these plays, and I'm like, that doesn't look like this guy was giving his all, especially in the NFL. And I'm like, you can feel what it feels like if you played to be in that, in your mind, in that position, kind of. And you're like, that guy, he could have got that. He could have did that.
Trust me, I was a good athlete, and that's why as a child, being an intelligent person with a good athlete, I'd watch some of these things these pro players did, and I'd say, there's just no way. This guy's getting paid millions of dollars to play the sport, and he just did that? No way. There's no way he could ever make it to this stage if this is legit. And like I say, you look at almost all these guys, they went to these Catholic and Jesuit high schools. It's like an insider group. A lot of them don't belong. I mean, look at the NBA right now. You younger guys might not notice because it's been this way for 20 years, but these guys can't even dribble a basketball. Look, Derek Brunson, he has to carry every time. That's the only way he creates separation, by carrying. He puts his hand all the way into the ball and jumps and skip. That's blow the whistle, that's a turnover. This guy can't be the point guard because he can't dribble.
It's fucking boring, man. This whole European style of basketball is boring. Nobody is an individual. Nobody has no moves. Nobody's creative. What happened to the Kobe's, the Iversons, the T-Macs? They all had an individual flair, and we look for it. Like, this shit is boring. I don't even watch. I haven't watched a single playoff game, man. And I love basketball so much. I thought I was going to the NBA. You know what I mean? That's where I come from. I can't believe I don't even watch this shit no more.
Just the stuff they do, too. Again, it might have been 5 years ago now, the NBA draft. They were having all these players wear a necklace with their dead parents. Some of them had lost both their parents, but I was like, doesn't anyone see this as weird that all the first-round picks are wearing a necklace with a dead parent or two dead parents? How many 18, 19, 20-year-olds have lost one or both of their parents in the U.S. on average? I'd say you go to the average household. It's probably pretty rare if you've even lost a single parent when you're 18. For some of these guys, for half of the first-round picks to have lost both parents, and why is the NBA paying tribute to this? Again, they're trying to tell you something. And like I've said, a lot of people on the world stage don't have a father. It's easier to guide and mislead, I would say, a person if they don't have probably any parent in their life, but especially their father. At least that's the way I see it.
Right. I remember what I wanted to ask you, though. It was actually the other day, you were saying some shit. I forgot exactly what you're talking about, but you mentioned Martin Luther King. You were talking about black people again, and how the numbers coordinated with Martin and Malcolm and some other civil rights leaders and other black shit. That I couldn't believe that one, you know. And so let me ask you, I was talking to my friend the other day. I said, the numbers all match up with these names, man. That's some weird shit. You know, maybe these guys, are those not their real names or something? And then my friend was like, Martin Luther King's name is his real name is not Michael.
Yeah.
Not Martin.
Right. And Malcolm X wasn't born Malcolm X. Yeah, Malcolm Little.
I know it was Malcolm Little, but it was his first name still Malcolm, though, right?
And it's just like Muhammad Ali, too. That's not his name. He took that name, and all these guys got names that equal 42.
Right, Cassius Clay. Okay, so when you're looking at that, is that coordination between these blacks who are really being controlled by the powers that be, or is that these blacks are being controlled, the numbers are being controlled by the Jesuits, and they're just coordinating their names in such a way that they match up?
Well, they're definitely coordinating their names so they match up. But I'd say they probably pick people for a reason. They pick people, and maybe the people don't even necessarily realize how they're being used and manipulated, but they pick people that are like, yeah, that person has the right traits, the right qualities. They're charismatic, they're motivational, maybe they're also, they can be compromised. Like they say, Martin Luther King Jr., they say that, he was a womanizer, and maybe they held that over him as blackmail, but, it's, again, it's obvious though that they're coordinating the way they name them, especially when you look at, it's just like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. They both have the 42 connection, but they both also have the 93 connection. They're both killed at 39, the reflection of 93, and they only met one time in history, March 26, 64, which was a date with 93 numerology. You mean to tell me the two guys who assume 93 names meet one time and on 93 date numerology, and that's just an accident? I mean, yeah, right.
Okay, hold on. So Malcolm itself without the X is going to equal the 90. I mean,
Malcolm X equals 93. Martin Luther King Jr. equals 93. Big way for Malcolm X, small way for Martin Luther King Jr.
What about Malcolm by itself?
Malcolm, I'd have to run it real quick. Malcolm alone.
So, okay, so do you believe it's just straight out? Because I've heard things about Martin Luther King, some things about some stuff, and I'm like, man, that's kind of wild. When it comes to Malcolm X, Do you believe he was pure, or was he being controlled willingly by the powers that be?
It's hard to say. For the record, Malcolm equals 39 alone, like he died at 39. I think Malcolm X, really, you want to, if you had to find somebody who has the greatest quotes in the history of the world, he'd be up near the top of the list. So, yeah, it's hard to say, but I know that a lot of things he said were definitely 1,000,000% on point.
Wow. I don't know what to make of it, man. I don't know what to make of it. Because I'm in my mind, I don't want to. Okay, let me ask you. It may be the same question asked a different way. When it comes to all of the entire civil rights movement and all that, do you believe that the black people that are the names that are put out front, the icon blacks, that they were all willingly working for this Jesuit order, carrying out this whole thing just to control the minds of the masses?
Well, again, Malcolm X is with the Nation of Islam, and who's really controlling the Nation of Islam? Like, for example, when the Nation of Islam had the Million Man March, they did that on the day leaving 76 days left in the year, like slave, Negro, Rasta, Blues equals 76. Like the feds recognized Black History Month in 76. Like the first Black history president, Obama, his name's 76. You just had the story 2 weeks ago with Diddy taking the Obama ecstasy pills 76 days before Obama's birthday, when Bad Boy Records is 76. So again, there's layers to things. Malcolm X, does he realize who's actually controlling the Nation of Islam? I can't answer all the questions. I just point out the things that are the undeniable parallels, the way these men are assassinated, why they're both killed at age 39, when that's the number of books in the Old Testament. If you start to look into the Old Testament, who the real Hebrews are, those Hebrew Israelites, they do have a point. They might be racist as hell and part of the problem, but I'm pretty sure they're correct about people who look like them being the true Hebrews. And I think that's why you've seen the rituals you've seen with again, the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X at the age they have, and the things like what they do with Tupac and put him on the cross after his supposed death. So,
His supposed death.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, did he really die?
I don't know. We all seen that autopsy picture.
Yeah. Well, how easy is that to edit?
It could be.
Yeah, that's not proof of anything. I mean, edited photos. I mean, if photos would prove everything, then the National Enquirer, man, then they must be 1,000,000% true.
The people in the hospital with him that said that they seen him, he had to get surgery to get one of his lungs removed. All the people coming out of the hospital, that's all stage 2, you believe, or it could be.
Well, it's think about how perfect it all is, right? He gets shot on 9/7, the anniversary of Biggie's album coming out, and then they wait for him to die until the anniversary of Caesar Borgia's death, which is also the second anniversary of the assault weapons ban, when he's killed supposedly with assault weapons. And not to mention he's in Above the Rim, where the Regulators song came from initially. A big song back in the 90s, the Nate Dogg and Warren G song. And then again, just, Caesar Borgia is what The Prince is based on, written by Machiavelli. And then they put out the Machiavelli album. And then years later, when Prince dies, then Tupac's mom's death is announced on the real Machiavelli's birthday. It could be that they were actually killed and the rituals were perfect, but the thing about Machiavelli is he faked his death, right? That's what Machiavelli's also known for faking his death. So that's kind of where I look at that. And again, what people say in the media, you can get people to say anything for a number of ways. You can pay them to say anything. You can blackmail them. You can threaten them. So what people come out and say doesn't really mean much. People lie every day. The headlines are mostly nothing but lies.
Part of me thinks that actually for this to be this elaborate with these numbers, that this has to be, that it couldn't be this elaborate without the cooperation of these people.
Yeah, of course.
And it must be.
Of course.
It would be impossible.
The other thing about Tupac is, again, So I remember when All Eyes on Me came out because they kept delaying that album. They kept delaying that album. They kept delaying that album. I remember because I had to take the bus to get to the mall. I was a kid. I wasn't old enough to drive. And back then, you'd have, for all you younger, you younger people, if you wanted music, you had to go to the mall or a record store and buy the thing. There wasn't any place to download the music online. All that stuff started to come out like in the early 2000s. Maybe the late 90s Napster was out. I have to go back. It might have been the late 90s finally you could download music, but not when All Eyes on Me came out, but they kept delaying that album, and then finally they put it out on February 13th, 213. 213 days later is how many days Tupac dies. And drive-by shooting equals 213 in Gematria, and so does death in Satanic Gematria, 213, and of course that's the LA area code, and he's associated with LA at the end of his life. He has the song To Live and Die in LA. And then that's another thing, too. You just look at Tupac's music. He was constantly talking about his future where he's going to die. Like, he has the song Picture Me Rolling, and he's telling the listener, like, when I'm gone, just think about this. That's why it does seem like it was all part of a big script and story, and it is just too numerically perfect. But again, there's the possibility that maybe they were just having him say those things on the record because they were planning for his demise too. So I won't say definitively that he faked his death, but I think the whole Machiavelli thing is a major clue, since that's what Machiavelli's largely remembered for, is faking his death.
All of this shit is very interesting, man. My last thing I want to ask you real quick. I'm trying to get back into the crypto. I made some major bonehead fucking moves in 2021, man. I could have been a fucking millionaire. I made the wrong decision. I sold my fucking Ethereum. I put like $1,000 into that fucking stock, and then it blew up. I could have had so much fucking money, man. But,
well, it sounds like you're young. So the lesson learned is usually when you invest money, if you have it's usually just good to let that investment ride out until it finally does what you envision it to do, or it collapses to the bottom and you say, oh, I made a mistake. There'll be more opportunities in life. So yeah, never cash out your chips too early.
With your crypto, with your Patreon, you give crypto.
No, we mostly focus on sports. Occasionally, we'll talk about other things. We had somebody call in the other day who had a read on the market on a certain stock, and he was right on the money because about 2 days after he called in, it shot up 50% in value, which is a huge stock price climb. Usually, when I talk about crypto, I usually just throw that stuff out for free on my public channel if I see something.
If you focus on that, do you believe you'd uncover that's full of this same gematria too?
Of course it is. I've already made some really great calls on crypto. I mean, it's this knowledge can be used for all these things: the market, crypto, sports, seeing through the news. Absolutely. So I'm gonna let a few more people get in here though, man. But I appreciate the call. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right, take care. What's up, 859?
Hey, Zach. I just have one question. I want to know your thoughts on Richie from Boston.
Retard from Boston?
Retard from Boston.
Retard from Boston. Yeah, Total Con Man was an obscure channel that nobody watched until everybody got censored, and then YouTube quickly blew him up to 100,000 and then 500,000 subs. It was crazy to watch. He was on YouTube for a decade with less than 10K subs, which is right where he belonged. The only reason I even knew about Retard from Boston is because he actually made a video thanking me for saving his life. If you remember the Oregon standoff situation about a decade ago, I showed people what a joke that was, how Oregon gave up a record loss in the Alamo Bowl to TCU, and then instantly, as soon as that game ended, the news broke that there was a standoff in Oregon. I was like, look at this shit. I mean, like the Alamo, a standoff. Oregon just gave up this record loss, and now the news is focused. So anyway, Retard from Boston, he saw my video on all that I presented about that. And by the way, that was another correct prediction. I'd have to go back and look, but I predicted what day the standoff would end. I showed how it's going to be a tribute to Waco. I think I said it would end 41 days later on the 42nd day of the year, and that's when it ended. But anyway, Retard from Boston saw that, and he made a video and said, wow, man, I was about to go out there and become part of that Bundy standoff, but now I see it's a psyop. I'm glad I didn't go out there and become, fodder for the feds. So that was how I became aware of his channel, because he gave a shout out to my channel, but he didn't have any subs back then. And then I don't know if you know these other names, but one of them is a guy that violates women, who's back in prison, who's also a flat earther. What's his name? ODD Reality. That was one of his buddies. Nicholson 1968. And I forget who else was the other fourth horseman, but they had none of them had that big of channels back then. And I didn't either. I was still growing, because maybe this was 2015. I have to go back. It was 2015 or the beginning of 2016. It was before my channel really took off too, but I had bigger subs by a lot than Richie. They ran a scam online, and they screwed up, because if you've ever live streamed, sometimes your stream will start before you actually hit the go live. I've had this happen to me too, because sometimes your stream will just start while you're supposed to be in the waiting screen before you hit the button. But if you don't know about this, look into it, because people who've been around know. Richie was playing the sound effects for his group. He's like, look at what I got queued up here. He's like, yeah, we're going to get him. And then so like 20 minutes into their live stream, Richie's like, holy shit, we're getting hacked by the feds. My computer's literally on fire. And then he starts hitting the sound effects that he did before the stream. And then these four idiots are doing videos for the next week after, saying they need all their equipment got fried by the feds from some kind of hack, and they need to raise money, and they need you to donate money, and they need you to buy them new computers. And I was like, look at these pathetic people. And I was actually invited to be on that stream with them, and I'm glad I didn't go on there. But then I even made a video after that. I made a video. I said, they even invited me to be on that stream with them. And I said, look, these are pathetic scammers. And I said, these people are what's wrong with the world, because when you're in this community trying to shed light on things and people are calling us conspiracy theorists, I said, how does this help when you're a supposed conspiracy theorist and then you're also a scammer? Retard from Boston's still scamming people. I saw that he's on BitChute now, and I don't know. I just had a humor. I clicked on a video of his about 3 months ago, and it, sure enough, still scamming. He's like, oh, you guys, last night I was parked, and I had a whole bunch of gold bars in the back of my car, and somebody broke out the window and stole all the gold, and I'm kind of like, I was like, listen to this fucking idiot. I'm sure, you had a whole bunch of gold bars, and why, if this happened, why aren't you out filming your FJ showing the broken window? I mean, I was like, but this is the thing, he's another guy that manipulates the religiously retarded, and realize he wasn't into Christianity or anything until he got into the whole grift. When his channel grew, because everybody else was deleted and censored, all of a sudden he's saying the quote, oh, I'm wearing the full armor of God. He learned that grift quote brought in some good money. Next thing you know, he's got the FJ, he's driving all over the country, can afford $5 gallon of gas and drive here to there. It was pathetic to watch. It's like, look at this guy, literally a nobody who deserves no following. Now that we're all deleted and censored and nobody's on YouTube and he's the only channel left standing, he's got 500,000 subs. No, it was pathetic to watch, and I can't believe anybody follows him. What was his call in 2020? In 2020, he said he was leaving, and this was definitely the fall of the country. 5G was going to kill everybody. This is the end of it all. I mean, just totally false prediction. Meanwhile, in 2020, we're out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation explaining what's actually going on. And yeah, so anyway, retard from Boston, total scammer, another guy who manipulates the religious retards. And it's sad that he has a following.
All right. Well, thank you, brother.
All right. Yeah. Take care. Yeah, it's pathetic. And again, that's the whole thing that religion's really here for, is just to manipulate dumb people. And people like Richie can take advantage of them. Oh, Richie's a good Christian. Is he? Is he? Because Richie never said anything about Christianity until he learned that it brought money in. Until he learned he could buy a Toyota. No, he was getting crazy ad revenue, because all of a sudden, retard from Boston was getting 500,000 views per video. That's a lot of money. And again, none of it deserved. What's up, 310?
Hey, how's it going, Zach? Yeah, going to your topic, what's the next move as far as reaching your full potential with listeners and actually movement? I've noticed that I don't know if you have an RSS feed as far as episode-wise. Like, if I would go onto my iPhone and look up podcast app, I don't see GematriaEffectNews on there, things of that nature. And a lot of times people don't watch the videos, but they'll like to work out with the headphones in and have like episodes to listen to. Maybe seen these episodes with certain guests, maybe, or just deep research. Because I know the Jesuits, like you're saying, have complete control of like the calendars and this and that. But that's very general. We have to understand that there's branches within the Jesuits and the Catholic Church, like Opus Dei and puppet masters like Leonard Leo. Are you aware of these people like Leonard Leo and how he pretty much the Opus Dei is a big lobbyist group that runs that runs pretty much Senate and Congress?
Well, I know Opus Dei is definitely another very important Catholic order. So
Yeah, so there's this guy Leonard Leo, and a book was written about him, and it's titled. The whole synopsis is he's a Supreme Court puppet master, and this guy's like if we have to, because Jesuits is a broad term, we have to understand who these people are, not just the puppets, but the puppet masters. So if you could Google Leonard Leo and his like what he's involved with, just going back to the podcasting on the actual application.
You're saying put out podcasts.
Yeah, like just have your, because like so for example, I'm on my iPhone right now and I'm on the podcast app and I type in your name and you've been on a few different podcasts, so that's the only reason why it's popping up. But if you had your own RSS feed with your actual
I'll have to ask Nathan. I know Nathan's been putting pretty much every episode I do on YouTube onto the podcasting things. I'm not sure what he's titling it if it's not coming up. He's been doing that for a few years now, so.
Okay.
But you're saying you're not seeing anything. So if Nathan's out there listening, what are you searching? Zachary K. Hubbard?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not putting my name in it. Maybe he's putting GematriaEffectNews or something. I don't know, but I know that he's been putting a lot of my YouTube's as audio files in the podcasting sphere, and I appreciate that he's doing that, but they're not very good views. So, but yeah, I hear the thought. I did start a podcast a little more than a year ago, and I asked people if they could help go over there and give it some views, because from what I read, you got to get a lot of views to get off the ground and get it jumping in the algorithm over there too, and almost nobody from my YouTube channel went over. That's why I get frustrated, because I just realized there's not a lot of energy in my own community to really help out. Like I said, they won't leave a one-word comment, can't get them to go over and click on the podcast even with the link there. So that's why I get frustrated. It's like you're fighting the algorithm. You got very few people willing to put in a few seconds of energy to help you out. It's like, what's the point? That's the recurring thought in my head.
No, I know what you're saying, but yeah, just a simple thing of being on the Apple Podcast. It'll pop up on people's algorithms. Like you've been on like I know you from the THC show you did a few years ago, and just off the strength of that, if you had your own feed on the podcast, like it's not just Apple Podcasts, it's an RSS feed. Also, going back to Leonard Leo, maybe you could collab with a few other, not just going with Gematria, even though Gematria is the tool to decipher how things are going in this world. Maybe like there's people like Professor Hamamoto that breaks down actual research. He was a professor out of Davis that he got fired because he was getting too deep into the trenches of the underworkings of just the university system of California. You've been on a Leo Zagami show, right?
No.
Okay, so Leo Zagami just put out, I think he was on the 12th or 13th edition of his Confessions of the Illuminati.
I know who he is. That little plant that Fake Mike Real News. He's had him on a couple times, and he actually asked Leo Zagami what he thought about my work, and Leo Zagami kind of played it down like it wasn't that important. I think that guy's full of shit, and he just landed a big
He
false
is, but
fake prediction about the
also has
Pope.
a lot of like evidence of being in these places of no like very few people have entered these places. You know what I mean?
But who cares? Who cares? Because what can you do with his information? Take his word for it? That's like what his whole thing is. Take my word for it. I'm teaching you knowledge that anybody can use to see through. That's what people should actually value. That's kind of what's wrong with the world, right? People are too stupid and too lazy to do any actual work, and then they look for celebrity, and these fake people are propped up like Leo Zagami, who no doubt is a fraud. And people are like, oh, yeah, he's Illuminati. But what is he actually telling you that has any worth or meaning? I'd say absolutely nothing.
I mean, I've written some of his. I mean, not written, but I've read a few of his books, and it does have information that's telling of that coincides with what you're saying. You know, maybe if you have instead of an argument, maybe have a discussion, because you're very you could be very defensive because people are very offensive. You know. Maybe.
Well, again, like I saw when he was asked about my work how he responded. He kind of like downplayed its significance. Where again, my work really does expose the whole show, and anyone can learn it and see through it every day. To downplay that and then just be like, oh, and I've done this and this and this and that. It's just like, okay, me taking your word for that doesn't help me with anything. If I have to go talk to somebody like my sister who's totally close by, I'm like, well, Leo Zagami's in this. She's gonna be like, who gives a shit? I don't know who that is, and I don't care either.
No, I know what you mean. Like, for example, you learned this Gematria through Manly P. Hall, right? The Secret Teachings of All Ages.
That's where I became aware of this information, right?
Awesome. So I actually, because I'm in LA right. Oh, I'm in LA, and I just stopped by his the Philosophical Research Society, the actual compound that he built in Los Feliz, and I picked up a few of his books. But going back to what you're saying is like, well, who cares what this is? But that's information that you built up. If he didn't present that in books, then you would have no idea about that. So there is some type of gains from people that you don't agree with.
No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. All right, so hit me with something, Leo Zagami, that he's talking that could be helpful to us. Give me just anything.
Well, going back to what you're saying with people dying, like celebrities dying and this and that, he has a whole book on pretty much how the music industry is being planted, and there's a lot of intelligence. But it's just, also how the pandemic was being used to bring in the Great Reset, bringing in the fourth industrial movement, or not the industrial, but the fourth. The next scale of where things are going, as far as everything going digital, people are being like surveillance and all that. But he's going into names and who these people are.
Okay. All right.
But no, I'm not saying he's like end all be all. I'm just saying maybe have a discussion with these people, because you are very good at presenting things. You get very offensive sometimes, but it's part of the reason. I understand people you get gaslit into it.
Well, like I said, I already saw how he responded about my work, downplaying it. That tells me really all I need to know about him. So,
right.
All right. Appreciate it, 310. Take care, man. Somebody in the chat says, see, Zach, that's your problem. You're too arrogant. I'm talking about how I don't care about what some guy who comes across as a total bullshitter who downplays the meaning of my work. I don't really care about what he has to say. It's just, and people are too dumb to discern the difference. Leo Zagami is a name that a lot of people know because people will bring it up like, oh yeah, he's an Illuminati insider. I think a lot of the people who are well known in this world are bullshitters that people trust, and having an accent can really help you with your bullshit in America. Oh, he's got an Italian accent, and Illuminati is an Italian word, so maybe he is an Illuminati insider. And if he's an Illuminati insider, is he really going to tell you anything? I mean, again, Me being arrogant? Not really. I'm pointing out that I saw how he downplayed my work when he was asked a question about it by another guy who's a con. Um, the other guy, that's one of the things Rambo got butthurt about too. What's the other guy? God, Springmeyer. Springmeyer. Is that his last name? Fake Mike had him on as well, and he also asked him about my work, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't like to deal with that kind of stuff because that's all witchcraft, and you should stay away from that." I was just like, "Good God, man!" Talking about what these evil people are doing, operating by a code, is witchcraft. I mean, that's just stupid. And I brought that. See, I think that's actually one of the things that got Rambo all hurt because I brought that up at the time, and then Rambo didn't bring that up, but I think that's part of the reason he got all offended because Rambo likes Springmeyer, if I'm saying his name right. But yeah, it's like to me, these people are not helping. I'm sorry. When you're saying that looking into this is witchcraft, it's like you have no discernment then. Understanding the way they operate and mock humanity every day is witchcraft? No, it's not. Far from it. So yeah, Fritz Springmeyer. That's who it is. Exactly. Yeah, because I noticed that because I made a comment about that, how he looked like another bullshit con man. And yeah, Rambo seemed to get his panties all in a bunch around that same time. Well, remember, Bape, what we said at the beginning of the year is the LeBron and his son playing in front of the Griffies. We thought that was another clue for why it was going to be the Thunder this year, who are from Seattle, where the last father-son duo played, the Griffies. Sonics won it in 79, and now the Thunder are in the championship in the 79th NBA season, facing Carlisle, who won the 65th season as the coach of the Mavericks. And again, the finals start on 6-5 this year, like Oklahoma City equals 65. And of course, right before tip-off for the Eastern Conference Finals, you had the death of Jim Irsay on the Indiana football team at 65. And what else is sick is just how Dick Barnett, who was born in Indiana and played for the Knicks, his name, Richard Barnett, equals 141. The Eastern Conference Finals started on the 141st day of the year. Indiana equals 34. The Eastern Conference Finals ended 34 days after his death. And then Sean Kemp, who's from Indiana and played for the Sonics, he's also going to prison. Not as bad as death, but seemingly another shaming ritual of another darker complected man for another sports championship. What's up, 917?
Yeah, man, I feel for you, Zach, man. The censorship is through the roof, and it's like nobody freaking cares. It's like if the work is at its best, like proven, like, 2015. From 2015, 2014, you were screaming 19-year moon cycles, 19-year moon cycles. And then what happened? It's like proven. Your work is, proven. So it's crazy.
What do you think about this comment left in the chat? Warren P says, Zach, Gematria isn't the end-all being of all knowledge. Have you ever heard me say that it's the end-all being of all knowledge?
I think that person doesn't know how to count. But it's all right.
And then he goes on, other people are entitled to their opinion. True wisdom is realizing how little you know. Is that just somebody who likes to hear themselves talk, or is he making a point there?
How upset? I mean, I don't know. In New York City, they had people. I don't even want to get into it, man. People are crazy, but it's amazing how in New York City, they flooded the streets for the Knicks game. They closed the streets down. Everybody came out, right? But there's a debate today. Andrew Cuomo. Nobody's gonna come out and fill up the streets and call them out on their bullshit. And who's their donors? Who's funding them? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, again, that's why Rome gave people the Colosseum. You keep them distracted and entertained, it's easy to rule over them.
But do you follow that? People came out, flooded the streets.
Flooded the streets. Police couldn't even hold them. The fans.
The sports game is priority for almost all of America. It's just like nobody cares about all the injustices, but oh my God, Dallas is about to burn down because they traded away number 77 Luka to the Lakers in their 77th season.
Yeah, but there's a mayoral race today. Everybody could go and hold these people accountable. And then nobody's going out there. Nobody even knows. It's amazing. But there's a story coming out of Michigan, I think. And today's 6-4. Michigan is 6-4. About the Chinese nationalists. Did you cover that?
What story is it?
I think it's like bioterrorism out of Michigan or something like that. It's interesting because they unfoiled the conspiracy today.
Michigan, 4664. So yeah, Michigan's in the news on 4664. Yeah, of course.
And it's 155th day of the year. Conspiracies 155. They say they quote the conspiracy or whatever. It's a lot of numbers, man. It's like unbelievable. But I don't know. People are crazy. Like I don't know how much money. How many trillions is Trump? What's the bill? How many? 2.4 trillion.
2.4 trillion more debt.
Where do they get this money? Where do they get this money? Speculation? Because the money's not backed by anything.
Right.
So it's like people are agreeing to the bullshit. Come on, you understand what I'm saying? These bankers or these people, they hold plots of uranium and all these. They don't even have that money. They don't have that kind of money. This shit is all fucking a Ponzi scheme.
It is.
A Ponzi scheme.
It is.
So
yeah.
People are agreeing to this every day. Like I don't know. People are content with how they're being ruled. So it's like, Zach, you're not wrong for anything you're doing. You're breaking ground every day. Your work is phenomenal. But the people. I want this 201 book that you're gonna finish up. I can't wait for you to finish that 201 book. If you can, just please. With the Clyde Davis 201 days to Diddy's birthday, all that, all the new information. It's like,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah. All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you
so much.
Yeah, you didn't need to block War and Peace. I was enjoying his troll comments. You guys, people like War and Peace in the chat are the definition of fucking losers. If you come on here and heckle me, you're heckling somebody who essentially allowed a great business to get sabotaged because they decided to step out and be brave and bring enlightening knowledge to the world. And then they ended up becoming targeted by the police and harassed. And next thing you know, they had auditors messing with them. Again, when we went out to Oklahoma City to bring knowledge to the world, I had the IRS get in contact and let me know that, I'd made this mistake. So I had this, I think it ended up being a $2,200 penalty. Again, I have continued to do good work, had to deal with all kinds of harassment. Have you ever been threatened for your life and had a car crash through 2 walls of your house on Christmas Eve? Somebody asked me about Retard from Boston, Russian vids, all these fake Christians. They were sure to make videos about that, about how it was a hoax, about a car crashing through 2 walls of my house, which it absolutely was not. Retard from Boston did an analysis of the tire tracks through the yard and somehow came to a conclusion that they weren't real. It's just like, what the fuck is he talking about? God. Again, War and Peace. Have you ever done anything in your life like stand out in the freezing cold all weekend and get your ass soaked to bring enlightenment about something that nobody knows about at the time, Event 201? Because we did that. I spent a lot of my own money. 2007, I spent $2,500 and gave away $2,500 in hoodies and t-shirts over that weekend to get people gathered out there. But what have you done? Are you a troll? Is that your accomplishment to life, trolling? Again, leaving dumb comments like Gematria is not the end-all knowledge. Nobody said it was, but can you tell me a more enlightening piece of knowledge that helps people take advantage of not being used and abused by made-up news stories, Kabbalistically encoded propaganda, pad their pockets off rig sports, rig market, rig crypto? Again, what knowledge do you know about that it can be used for greater diversity of topics? It's if you can't understand why I'm frustrated in 2025 after all that's done, and like I said, I mean, just in recent months. Like, I don't understand how my support is down. I mean, we are fresh off nailing the Masters, the Derby, March Madness, College Championship, practically the Super Bowl again. It's like, how is support down? Like, how are there less people here? How are there less people here than ever? Some loser in the comment is the most active member, just leaving dumb comments that don't make sense. Yeah. And again, like, working my ass off while raising a little one too. Have you ever raised a little one? Have you ever had to deal with lack of sleep like every single day and still stayed on the grind? But yeah, it's just, you know, I mean, they say you shouldn't look at others and compare yourself to others. But at the same time, here's the way I'm looking at things right now. I know it's all controlled and it's all, you know, it is bullshit. But again, you just look at these channels that are propped up that do suck people in because it shows up in their feed, and how well supported they are despite doing absolutely nothing. Like I said, this little kid, he looks like he's 10 years old. He might actually be 20, but he looks 10. I mean, that kid's making a fortune right now, and he's a fucking retard. He just had a debate on a big stage, and he couldn't come up with a proper argument for why Catholicism shouldn't rule over the U.S. government. Just goes to show he doesn't know anything about history. Again, these are the people that people are tuning into to get information from. Somebody who really doesn't know anything about anything. He turned his argument into the Holocaust. It's like, what? The Holocaust? Ugh. Yeah, no, it's just, yeah, you just say, how is it even possible? Technology and all, algorithm and all. Like, where are the people over the years? Where's all the people? I mean, where are the 100,000 people that were in the comments when LeBron came back from down 3-1 saying how it changed their life? Where did all these people go? I know it's 9 years later, but it's not like we've stopped doing the same thing year after year. Where are these people at? I know the channel's been deleted 20-some times, and it makes it hard to find the work, but you think people would still put in the effort. There were a lot of people that were so enthusiastic about this work back then. Oh my God, I never found anything more amazing. Where did they go? It just shows you how easily people are controlled. You put what's in front of the face, you hide the rest, and then all that becomes their reality is what's in front of their face. You know, that's how they control my own subscribers with the feed. Just don't show my videos. Show them everything else, they'll forget about it. It's that easy in the United States of amnesia. Well, what's up, 425?
Hey, Zach, just to chime in, you know, I was poor growing up, so when we were in kindergarten, my parents divorced, so we were in and out of schools. We were never really there long enough to get the programming. You know, as we were in school, you know, I'm noticing, oh, you have to salute the flag, and I'm like, what the? I'm looking at everyone in the class. I'm like, this isn't a normal thing. And, you know, I think it has to do with, you know, a lot of people in the community might be along with me. They didn't get indoctrinated or programmed correctly at the get-go. So it really is a theme of, you know, you can't see the forest for the trees with the people in society. And, again, everybody cares about themselves. They're not worried about what's not going on with them. So,
and on that point, I'm just going to emphasize something. For any people out there, don't do what I did. Don't self-sacrifice to help out the world. I'm going to tell you, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Again, you guys, I essentially lost $1 million business over this work. If I could go back, I would have just kept all this knowledge to myself. It was way easier to take advantage of the rig sports. I had a great business. I'm sure I'd be astronomically further ahead than I am now had I not put this knowledge out in the world. And it's just like I say, I mean, just like Run Your Pocket said, you guys are all talking all this, you can't even donate $1. Again, it's not worth it. People are selfish. You're watching somebody self-sacrifice grind for 12 years straight, and you can't find people to send a fucking dollar. Again, you guys, if I could rewind time, this knowledge would not be out there. I would keep it to myself, and I'd still have my business. I'd be 1,000,000 times better off for myself. And you know what? The world would see the reason I did it is because I saw the world was fucked if something didn't change. But one man's not enough, and there's too few people willing to do anything other than for their own self gain. My major life mistake was trying to help people who don't deserve to be helped. Go ahead, 425.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, you're pointing out how all the games are rigged, and they go by stories and numbers. I'm watching, you know, CNN News. I visited Boston recently. There's a Karen Reed in the news. I know this because my dad, he's in his 70s, he's watching TV. What else are you going to do? Like, why are you watching this? And, you know, it's on TV. But Karen, a middle-aged, entitled woman, read. The whole court case is about reading text. It's just in your face, a mockery. But again, you can't see the forest for the trees. They're like, oh, this woman killed the cop. She should go to, you know, they're having the argument like it's a real thing. And I'm like, you know, I'm trying to like point out all these sports things. Like, for instance, tonight you have in Edmonton, you have two Skinners, like two shooters, the JFK theory. Both those guys add up to 127. That's the Pearl Harbor thing. And Larry Bird's birthday. And if Paul Maurice lost the first two games, it'd be 12-7.
You saw the feds arrested the supposed attacker today at JFK on the 4/6 date. You saw that?
Okay, I didn't catch that yet. No.
Yeah, the feds who were on the scene when the fertility clinic blew up that equaled the same thing as Federal Bureau of Investigation. Today they make the arrest at JFK on 4/6. Yeah.
And that team has a Nugent. I mean, immediately, the only Nugent you know is Ted Nugent. So I'm looking up Ted Nugent. I'm like, oh, this guy's 76, you know. He has cat scratch fever. The Panthers, the Cats, 77. In 77, if they won in Game 7, they'd be 7-7 in their record, you know. And the guy, the Ryan Nugent kid, he's 32, like 32 years ago in '93. He wears number 93, and he's 6'1", you know. But they're all the same numbers associated with the news, the championships, the same exact numbers all the time. I try to keep pointing this out to everyone as, oh, you know, it's a coincidence theory. It's just hard to get past.
Yeah.
But that's what I think that's really what you're dealing with. You know, when you're 5, you remember playing video games. You could play, you're a fucking a prodigy when you're 5. You can do anything. But if you're a program when you're 5, that's it, man. It's over. Game over. Like, it's so hard to beat this programming. I luckily was in and out of schools. I didn't stay in school long enough to really be programmed by anything. I was defiant in all the authority. So that's why I'm open-minded, and I see all this shit that you're pointing out. And that's impossible. It's absolutely impossible for it to be coincidence. There's no way in hell it's a coincidence. But you tell people, you know, who are in school, indoctrinated, and following whatever they believe, you know, what does it mean? That's what they said. What does it mean? It means you're living in a scripted fucking world. That's what it means. What can you do? Well, know what's coming, you know. History repeats itself. So, like you say, you know, I was preparing for a down economy year, and where I work, it is down past month. So I'm preparing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's all. That's all I have for your audience. You know, really pay attention to the news and the discourse. It's just impossible to line up perfectly every single day. It's absolutely impossible. So that's why it has to be scripted out ahead of time.
Yeah, and it's just so obvious
so
it is.
We're actually living out a predetermined simulation, life, matrix, whatever you want to call it. It's all, you know, heavily influenced to go in a certain direction, and we're kind of along for the ride kind of thing is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And that's all, sir.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. All right, I got to wrap this up pretty soon. If you guys, a few more people are trying to call in. If you guys want to call in, make it now. But yeah, YouTube, this platform, it pisses me off how, again, I don't see how anything's gonna get better in this age of AI where everything's under total AI surveillance. It's like humanity missed the opportunity. What's up, 610?
Yo, what up, Zach? I'm kind of working. I haven't really been paying attention. I just need you to check your email for me, or you can go to the RL Stein and click the link that I put in there. And I even tell you where to fast forward to in there.
Are you the one that always calls in and tells me to check my email, and I always say I have 5 emails?
Same guy.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. So can you just like call in and just tell me what the information is without check the email every time?
Oh, you want to see this? I went on somebody's channel and I was talking shit. So you can show it to everybody if you want.
About what?
about everything, about gematria, about chronology, about everything. Man, if I'm going out of my way to blow you up, just look at it, all right? Trust me. Please. You don't have to do it right now. You don't have to show everybody if you don't want to, but I think they'd like to see it too. It's not bad. It's all good stuff. All right.
Can we get some more details? Can we get some cliff notes?
It's just, yeah, like I'm just giving you your flowers, who I learned from, how, you know, how I put that information together with other information. You know, it's gematria shit. This is what you talk about, how you always want. People, nobody's doing nothing, nobody's doing it. Well, I'm doing stuff, so go check it out. It's worth it, trust me.
Okay.
Right.
What's your email again?
Keith.Andrews23.
You don't have to give out the whole thing unless you want trolls to probably have the weirdos.
I don't give a hell, man. I just want you to see it.
All right, you sent it to GematriaEffectNews at Gmail.
For like a month.
GematriaEffectNews at gmail.com.
Yeah.
And you sent it when?
Shit, the most recent one was after the podcast, so a couple weeks maybe.
Yeah, I have like a gazillion
emails, and I was trying to get a hold of you before we went on because you said you were going to come on with me.
Yeah. Okay, I found it. It looks like you sent it on May 17th.
That sounds about right.
Okay. Well, here, I'll put it on. People can check it out. All right, so here's our friend that wants it to be seen. He's getting the word out. So we're back on Archaic's channel again. So it looks like we're watching his video. That's what you linked me.
Just watch it, dude. Come on.
We're in the video. This is a 33-minute video. I just said I have to get off here.
Fast forward to 12:30 or 12:50. It says it in that thing.
When you wake up in the morning, if you're checking your phone, stop that.
All right.
Instead, try this technique from the mind science pioneer, Jose Silva. You see,
right,
when we're
510.
awake, our brain is at work.
But this is...
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing all right. What's up?
Nothing. I just want to call, and I just want to tell you that I appreciate all your work that you do. And I'm not trying to make a shout-out, but shout out to Yashid for introducing me into Gematria. And once you start putting truth out, the algorithm goes way down, and they don't, you know what I'm saying, they start taking your views away and stuff like that. So, I mean, for you to just keep doing what you're doing, I really do appreciate that. And you just open my mind to a lot of things that need to be seen. But that's all I want to say, man. Thank you.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. You have a good day.
Appreciate it, too.
Yeah, I mean, I am a grinder and I don't like to quit, but it's just like at this point, it's like, what are we doing here? This is worthless. All right, so he wants us to see this clip. I'm going to put it on
his 3 or 4 times, and he loves to talk about.
Let me know if you guys can hear it first of all. I think you should be able to.
Right here. This is
actually,
Keith.
why don't...
How you doing, Keith?
What's up, man?
You guys hear it?
How are you?
Good, man. Let me see. You guys can hear Keith pretty good? Do I need to turn my audio down a little bit? Believe me, they'll always tell me in the chat.
You can still hear mine all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I got my speaker down because I'm not trying to hear all these notifications. All right, cool.
Yo, so just real quick, just to try to put this into perspective, like a while back, like it would have been, Michael Jordan's my favorite basketball player. Like this is like MJ inviting you to come shoot free throws and hang out. Like,
oh man, I appreciate it.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm just a good old boy, man.
No, I know.
All right. We're still getting calls too, so it's going to be hard to watch the long clip, but what's up, 404? Hello.
Hey, Matt. I appreciate the work you're doing. I just wanted to point it out. I don't know if anybody had pointed it out before, but from the old 2K soundtrack, there's this song called By the Numbers by Jamaica. Have you heard of that?
By the Numbers. By who?
Jamaica, like the country.
Oh, like by Jamaica. I don't think I have.
If you look it up, or I don't know if you can play music, or if you just look up the lyrics, it sounds like they're talking about Gematria. And I personally found this song for the 2K soundtrack. It was like 2K14, I want to say.
It says, well, it might have been. It says the song came out in 2010.
Okay. But yeah, if you listen and look to that song, it sounds like they're talking about Gematria. But I don't think it's really a popular song like that.
Okay. Okay. Read by the numbers, reading the signs and everyday's figures. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. And that's all I really had to say. With the work not getting out there like that, you probably won't be a fan of it, but negativity, people gravitate to negativity.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's just like, you know, I don't know if you saw that clip where these people are just doing nothing but fighting with each other and calling each other names and all this. And I saw what the original topic was about. I tried to get him back on the original topic, and then somebody pays $25 to mute when I'm showing how it all comes together. It's like, so, okay, so they just wanted to sit there and watch people argue with each other for an hour and call each other names. That's where the value was in this, not getting some actual knowledge. And you think about it, I mean, it's just like this in the 90s when I was growing up, everybody wanted to watch Jerry Springer. Just to me, I was like, I don't know why anyone wants to watch this. This is a waste of your life, watching some stupid people fight over nothing. But that's the society we live in, so.
It's sad to see. But yeah, check out that song. It sounds like they're talking about Gematria. I appreciate it, Zach.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Take care, 404. Well, this song's more cryptic. You'd have to really think about what they're saying. But if you guys want to check it out, Jamaica by the Numbers. Shout out to Daria Gematria. Shout out to Daria. Daria just reminds me, there's only a few people in the world that are really down for the cause. Daria's super generous. She's pounded payment from Oklahoma City to New York as a single lady. She drove all the way out from Utah to Oklahoma City. But yeah, in a way, I almost feel bad every time she donates. I'm like, she's already done way too much. I mean, 50 people in the world who've done a lot for this knowledge. She's in the top 50. She doesn't really need to do anymore. What's up, 925?
Yo, Zach, where do we go from here, man? It's like the book, there's hella knowledge in your book that you don't normally share on your videos that you could, I don't know if you can develop a touring for that. As far as getting people out there, that'll help with building the community as well.
How do you mean that, getting people out there?
I'm sorry?
How do you mean that, getting people out there?
So if you are doing a book tour, you're going to have people come out to see that. If you're not on YouTube as much, you're going to have more of a draw for people to want to come see you. And when people come to see you, we can build a community that way. Because, like I said, your books contain hella knowledge that isn't commonly shared through your videos.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the closest thing I ever had to a book tour was when I went from Seattle to New York. A lot of people did come out with their books. People came, I guess in Oklahoma City, people came out with their books. According to sales, though, the book only sold about 5,000 copies, so that's not a whole lot of people.
Well, you know, you're groundbreaking. Not a lot of people are into your shit. They're gonna, you know, it's like when it's coming out first and it's new, it's gonna be low, and that's according to the numbers. And you always say that you're pretty sure that those numbers are skewed. And as far as, you know, you changing people's lives, man, you do that on a daily. And you know, I've been with you since that 3-1 comeback, and I saw Steph throw the ball out of bounds on purpose, and you know, my eyes were open, and I'm still here, and you still have a draw, and you know, there is avenues to go because, like the title says, man, YouTube is phasing it out, and it's for a reason, and we both know what that reason is.
Yeah, we do know what that reason is. You know, for me, it's going to have to be a long-term plan because, I mean, the reality is with the little one and plans for more little ones, it's going to be hard for me to do any book tours anytime soon. And yeah, just trying to start out new projects right now. I mean, I haven't seen them all the way through, but they've all gotten off to really bad starts. I just feel like it's hard to do anything on the internet. I feel like they got us on lockdown on the internet. So you're right. It does have to be out in public, but at the same time, you know, if I'm doing a book tour and I got 5,000 people that buy the book, that means that book tour is going to be very expensive for me. 5,000 books sold isn't very much money, where traveling and hotels and all that costs a lot. So it's hard to have a book tour.
Oh, sorry. Just to see you speak as well. The Patreon, you know, you got a lot of people on the Patreon. You got got
but they go off. They go off when I'm not doing sports picks. It's like literally half the people quit on the 2 weeks I was on the road for the New York trip. That was the most costly event. Well, actually, the most costly event in my life was getting my house robbed in November 2014. But after that, the next most costly event in my life was the 2 weeks I spent on the road in New York, because half the people quit and they never came back.
Yeah, so
That's what I mean. It's like, where do you go, man? It's like, where do you go? It's hard. I mean, really, maybe the logical thing is, and I don't want to do this, but it's just like, quit the news thing, because nobody cares about that in terms of people who are down for the cause and want to support the work. Where's the financial investment? If things got to change and we're going to do something, we need money. We need resources. Who supports that? The sports. So do I just go all sports? Do I just become total sports coverage and say, forget the rest because nobody really cared? That's actually probably a pretty logical thing, but I don't really want to do that because I didn't start this thing for sports. I started to expose the corruption that's going on in our society that people need to wake up to, but seemingly they don't want to.
The books are amazing, and you can try to lead these people to the water. You can try to get them there, and if they go, the saying. But the books are, I think, that will create the avenue as far as what you want to do and getting, off the internet, because they ain't gonna let us prosper the way that they want, because it's not part of their agenda. Even though they let us know it and they let us talk about it and they let us build communities behind it, it's not in their agenda to let it out in the mainstream. And throughout the years, we see how they have the mainstream brainwashed and fed and led.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's the thing, too, when we go out in public and we showcase that we have good speaking skills and can make people stop and listen like we did in New York, I think that just targets us for more punishment on these platforms that are controlled by them. Because like I said, the New York trip was super costly for me financially, and I've never recovered. It's like they've kept a cap on this. And that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me, too. It's like, how can we have all the accomplishments and but the support just doesn't grow, it goes down. It trickles down slowly. It's just, again. But what do you do? I'd love to go on a book tour. I wish that's what it could be all about, producing books. I would have finished my third book a long time ago if there was more support for the first one or the second one. I didn't want to put out the third book until I had the thing damn near perfect, which I realized in hindsight was a mistake. I should have put it out 4 years ago when it was practically finished. But again, it hurts when you put together something and it's like, God, only 5,000 people bought the damn thing. That's it.
So. The artist's job is never done. An artist is always a perfectionist. You can't save the world, but you can help save a few. And I understand your frustration. And if you have to leave YouTube and social media, stay in touch with us through your books, man. You're doing a great thing.
Well, I thought about that. I was like, is it better to just not spend time on the internet and just put everything into books? But then I'm reaching even less people. That's why it's just like, I mean, if you're going to have a difference, you got to reach people. I don't know. For everyone who worries about me quitting, I'm never going to quit. But I might quit YouTube, even though I haven't wanted to, because it's pathetic. It's just, you guys don't know how it feels to have to produce 50 to 100 videos to get the same amount of views you would have got for one video X amount of years ago when your work was a fraction as good. I mean, for anyone who's been around, we know way more. We can connect way more dots. This work should get exponentially better views than it did in 2017, but that's not the case.
At this point, it's like, look at the people you're reaching through this avenue. You're getting trolls and people that just are closed-minded. And, maybe it's time to look at other avenues, because you're looking for somewhere to go from here,
Sure.
The people that you reach here, that's who you're going to reach. The people that you want to reach, that you've reached here, I think you've gotten to that limit.
Yeah, well, I think they limited us. I mean, again, you can't fight this oppressive machine called the algorithm, but yeah, I hear it. I mean, it's definitely a bottleneck. So, all right, man. Well, I'll think about what you said, and I do wish I could just write books and book tour. I would love to do that. I like getting out there. I like speaking in public. I like meeting people. It's just when I've done that, it's been very costly, and Yeah, it's tough. So anyway, I'll think about what you said though. I do appreciate it.
I understand. Thanks, Doc. Have a great one.
All right, yeah, you too, man. Take care. Yeah, and that's the reason I know that the views are not fake. Some of you guys think it's reaching a lot more people and the views are fake. Nah, the views are correct. I can look at my analytics. It's like almost zero new people reached every month. It's just a flat line that's as close to zero as possible. And it goes to show with the here I can show you guys the analytics. Keep in mind when I relaunched my channel in 2018 and my book was available, I sold at least $1,000 in ebooks. When I say I've only sold 5,000 books, that's not true counting ebooks. I'm talking about physical copies of books. I've sold a lot more ebooks than that, and most of it was back when this channel got views. What's up, Mr. 201 from Seattle? Or not Seattle, Los Angeles. I call him Mr. 201 because he had all these great 201 observations when I was out in LA. What's up, man?
I'm not really too sure. I need to do more brainstorming on just how to beat the algorithm. Damn near impossible.
Yeah. Here, you cut out though. Yeah, I heard you say it's damn near impossible.
I was just calling to see if you've ever seen the movie Pi.
Oh yeah, I talked about pi in my first book. I have old videos on pi, and the funny thing is, where it talks about gematria, all of those calculations in the movie are false. None of those are actually true values, and I find it interesting that he did that way. I'm like, why didn't he just use like real numbers? But he made up all the numbers to make it connect. Right. But yeah, absolutely, I've talked about that movie. And remember, he's trying to find a secret in the market with numbers and patterns. The one guy. Yeah. And what's also happens to that guy, he ends up offing himself, which is also, I think, kind of the programming of that movie. If you look for the numbers and the patterns, you'll go crazy. You see all kinds of oh man, this kind of stuff will make you go crazy. It's like, well, it hasn't made me go crazy. It's just the only thing that makes me mad is how people can't catch on to the obvious patterns.
I also noticed though that guy Darren Aronofsky, he's releasing a movie around the same time that Eddington movie came out, because the movie studio A24 re-released that Pi movie in 2023. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know they re-released it. Interesting.
But I just think it's interesting because A24 is making that Eddington movie too, and well, this movie I'm bringing up with Darren Aronofsky isn't made by A24. I forget what it's called. It's like the point I'm bringing it up though is it features Austin Butler. I thought that was interesting because this guy's got the movie Pi talking about gematria, and then this new movie Eddington features Austin Butler and it talks about gematria.
Yeah.
And at the same time, Austin Butler's featuring another movie made by the same guy that made the Pi movie.
And he also played Elvis, and Elvis is a big part of the ritual that they did in 2020 with the Pokey Dokes. And Tom Hanks being the first celebrity sick while filming the movie and all that.
That was one of that Elvis, Tom Hanks, Bill Gates, Austin Butler, that whole riddle was probably has probably been one of the most perfect ones.
Isn't it crazy that there's a Hollywood movie literally being made about this work, like almost mocking it, and it's just like being buried in reality? It's just funny how the world works, man. It's just like, God, this is annoying.
I know. I try to get one of my friends, like he likes to talk about like some of these conspiracies and stuff, but as soon as I get into the numbers and stuff, there's like something in his brain that shuts off. He hates.
Yeah, and almost everybody's brain. In almost everybody's brain. People do not like numbers. They do not like math. They didn't like it in school. They don't like hearing about it. And like I said, isn't it interesting how the word numbers starts with numb? It's almost like they go numb. So.
Yeah, and he's like, you can make anything equal. Like you could find patterns in.
I know, man. Isn't it weird? That's what I mean about. That's what I started to notice after 9/11 is that it seemed like everybody was a wind-up toy, and somehow they all had the same thoughts and ideas inside them that would just come out of their mouth, which to me all seemed completely illogical. I'd be pointing out how it didn't make sense, the collapse, how they found passports, and everybody would just respond the same way. dude, you sound like a schizophrenic. I'd be like, why does everyone say I sound like a schizophrenic for saying it doesn't make sense when it doesn't make sense? I'd say over half of people would say that to me.
Movie,
huh?
That Pie movie, the guy that is looking for the patterns, his character is a schizophrenic.
Right. Yeah. Stereotypes, right?
Yeah. But then, like, to that argument that, like there's patterns and everything. Okay, there's patterns in nature. That's the whole point. If the creator is communicating this way and there's organic patterns, and then there's a group that wants to play the role of the creator, then they're going to come up with their own patterns.
Yeah.
So,
And like I said, I just talked about that R.L. Stine movie that's viral on Netflix right now, or trilogy. I mean, it's putting it in your face. The good family who has the Kabbalist witchcraft knowledge, and they're using it to maintain political power over their community, and they're sacrificing people. It's just like, it's crazy how they... I mean, there's a lot of movies that put it in your face, but... Like I said, there's the scene in the movie where they don't have the family name. They just have a big G written out, like the Freemason G, with Solomon under it. Like all Freemasonry secrets are in Solomon's temple based in Kabbalah. I'm like, God, they're oh my God, they just mock humanity and people don't want to get it. It drives me nuts.
I was watching a Denzel movie on Netflix a couple weeks ago. I forget what it's called, but Denzel plays at the very beginning of the movie. They're at this motel, and the owner of the motel is complaining how the lights keep going out. Somebody keeps breaking the lights, and the name, the neon light for the hotel with the big name. He's like, the G went out, and he's like, you know how much that's gonna cost me? That's 47 bulbs in the letter G.
Yeah. I mean, 47's everywhere. Again, just even in the occult movie, the R.L. Stine movie, they have to dial a number, and the number's 4747. The last 4 digits. I'm just like, God, oh my God, man. I almost, if you pay attention, almost every TV show and movie puts 47 in it if you pay attention. Are you still there? I think we dropped his call. Anyway, I gotta hop off too, man. I gotta go pick up a sweet girl here. Yeah, but if you guys can't see that, that's the sales for them. And it's been about that. I mean, I'd say the average month lately, it's been like $10 to $15 in sales. And I almost should just cancel this too, because it actually costs quite a bit to run each month. But I mean, this is just where we're at. And this is because there's no new people being reached. The only people who buy stuff are people who are new to the work. Most of you guys, you've either made your choice if you're going to buy the book or not, which was very few of you in the first place. But only new people are the ones who ever buy it. What's up, 803?
Oh, yeah, I was calling. Are you still on the line?
I do have to get off in about 1 minute, but I got time for your last call.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate your work. I've actually been following you since probably 2019. I created a YouTube channel. It's called The Truth Vault.
The Truth Vault? The Truth Vault?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
It has like a treasure chest logo on it.
I got one with a magnifying glass. Oh yeah, I see the vault. Okay, I got it. I just subscribed.
Yeah, I reposted like certain videos. Some of your deleted content that you had deleted, I reposted that on this channel. I started last year, but yeah, you
Wait, what is your app for your channel? I'm thinking this isn't the right channel.
It's at The Truth Vault 365.
Yeah, the one I'm on is not your channel. But they also have a picture of a vault. Let me see. I see a magnifying glass over the word truth. That's not yours, right?
No, it should be like a treasure chest.
At Truth Vault? That's not you, at Truth Vault?
It's at The Truth Vault 365.
365. Man, that's actually a popular channel name, The Truth Vault. Crazy.
I started last year. I was trying to upload like truth related content, and you did some great work exposing this stuff. 9/11, coronavirus. I even got your video about Chadwick Boseman dying at 42 and not actually 43. So I reposted this. I also got a playlist. It's like if anyone wants to learn and understand gematria, I got some of your gematria school videos. So yeah, I started this last year and I almost got 100 subscribers. So yeah,
I just dropped the link in the chat. If you guys want to help him get 100, he'll need 13 more. It's at the Truth Vault 365, just like I got up on the screen right there.
You do some great work. So continue pushing, and book tour would probably be a good idea. If you put out your next 201 book, I'll go and get it, but it may help with your support.
All right. Appreciate that, 803. Thanks, man. All right, take care. At the Truth Vault 365, he's trying to get out the word if you guys want to support him. And again, he's gone into the topic that's definitely probably already got him shadow banned. Thank you to Elijah, who chipped in 5. Thank you to Abra Amuna. I hope I said that right. Chipped in 5 as well. Said, keep going with Zachary, because if it wasn't for you, a lot of people wouldn't be woke right now. Appreciate that. Bringing woke back. BapeRacks.com says, when is the NBA? Oh, yeah, we covered that when we talked about how this season began with the Griffey tribute. It was one of the signs that the Seattle team, now the Thunder, would be in there. Nobles HSX with the Big 10 said, it's frustrating, man. The witchcraft excuse is hilarious. Yeah, that you were talking about when I said what Fritz Springmeyer said. Billy with the 5 said, anyone ever read in the Bible the book of Nahum? I don't think I have the book of Nahum. I'll have to look that up. Bape Racks again said, thank you. I heard Steve Kerr say this is going to be a 7-game series. When they were up 3-1, they cut to commercial immediate, no DVR. Oh, you must be talking about back when LeBron came back from down 3-1 and won on the real King James' birthday. Steve Kerr, of course, the coach of the Warriors. Remember, the Warriors lost with 89. King James equals 89. Daria, again, with the big 20. The queen of the stream, always. I've been here since 2019. I've never regretted it. Thanks again, Daria. Like I said, Daria's been way too generous. So has Rick James, member for 27 months. That's pretty amazing, though. They've never, see, that's the thing. That's what they did. They allowed this channel to stay monetized, but they never allowed it to get any views. I'd never had a channel monetized for more than 3, maybe 4 consecutive months without it getting taken away. So that means that this channel's been monetized for 27 months. That's the one thing that's different about this channel. Run your pockets. He said, thank you for the knowledge. I need another live stream soon. Compound the payment in Ohio. Yeah, I would love to. Rick James again sent out a gifted membership. Thanks again, Rick. Joshua Pylon Elbay became a member. Thank you, Joshua. And Mikey became a member. Thank you. Yeah, again, you guys, it's just I want to do something that's meaningful. Let me close out with this too to understand the way my mind works. I like to feel like I'm being helpful and doing something productive and having an impact. And there might be a new person here each month at the rate things are going. And you could look at it that way. Well, you're helping out one new person a month. Could I be doing something else that helps out more than one new person a month? I know a lot of you guys appreciate the stream of knowledge. You guys like the way I keep you up to date on the latest, but you guys have the information and you know what's going on. Yeah, it's like what they've done. I mean, there's no way we can change the world with this information, with what's been done with this path. It doesn't mean there's not a correct path out there. You guys have said for a long time, create a curriculum, start a school. Well, these things take resources. When you don't have any publishers that are willing to help you out, which I'm pretty sure is the case. I mean, I floated my book to a lot of different people and never heard anything back. I feel like the cabal runs everything that's large. Yeah, it costs money for me to put out books. And see, that's the thing too. Like, I feel bad about that. I wanted to finish up 38 Special for Jonathan and help him raise some funds because he has a financial problem right now. But I just know that what that book is going to cost me to make, I highly doubt, based on what's going on with this channel and how few views, I highly doubt that book would sell enough to even pay for what the cost of having it made is. And at that point, since I really wanted to get it done mostly to help out Jonathan, I might as well just give Jonathan the money. I'm just being realistic. This channel's deader than dead. I mean, like right here, you guys, 0 sales for the last month. And it's been that way. I think over the course of the last year, there might have been $100 in total sales. And if you look at what it cost me a month to run this, that's a major loss. This whole website costs, this isn't even the other website for the, and that's the thing too, you guys. It's just like, this website, I'm thinking about just taking this down. I've spent a lot of money on the social media thing now for years. I've lost track of the years. You know, Nick Fuentes, however long he's been on the scene, he wasn't even on the scene when I was paying for this social media stuff. This is expensive, and you know, it hasn't taken off. Hardly anyone's wanted to join. Little participation. When I go live, I usually put out a notification here so that if you're not getting one on YouTube, you can get one through this platform. Nobody's really signed up for this. So yeah, I might just have to cut back on some things too. I mean, you see, I posted this yesterday's live stream. Since yesterday, there are 2 new posts. So is this worth spending all this money on each day? I don't think so. So yeah, I might have, and I don't think too many people are going to care since hardly anyone's using it, but I've tried to create a bunch of ways to get around the censorship and create community for where you won't be censorship free, but like no one's cared. Everyone's like, Zach, start a Discord. I don't want to start a Discord because I don't want to use other people's platforms and just have it taken away overnight. Like things like that have happened so many times. Maybe Discord doesn't censor. I don't know. Or maybe that's their policy now, but in the future it would be censorship. But yeah, I've just been trying to do a lot of things, and what I have found is there's definitely just not a lot of people out there that want to get behind it and be part of it. So, and this never costs anything. This is all free to use. But yeah, anyway, it would have been a way for everyone to get a notification because it works. When I send out a notification on there, your phone gets pinged instantly. It works. And so when everyone's all like, I never get notifications, it's like, well, I don't want to say for the 10,000th time, sign up for my website and get notifications there. And honestly, lately, I haven't even been sent out notifications because nobody's on the website. It's just extra work for me. So, and for this guy, if you want to check out his video, it's on the Archaics channel, Number Play, Exploring the Subjectivity of the Construct. Keith is going to go on there and debate Gematria just before the 12-minute mark. I'll check it out later, Keith. But yeah, it's just anyway. Yeah, I gotta go get the sweet girl. I went overtime. We'll leave it there for now. Again, thanks to everyone who hits the like and the share. And until next time.